Welcome back, Shalligators. Today we're talking about reports, rumors, myths, and legends that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are calling off their divorce. I mean, they had that whole bizarre wedding reenactment at his also bizarre Donda listing party. Don't even fucking get me started. Well, do get me started because it's what I do for a living. So we're going to get me started. They had this, wedding reenactment. She shows up in a Balenciaga, wedding gown to fake marry him. What is going on? I've actually got some tea. We're going to talk about it. And most importantly, we're going to use these two dumb assholes as a guide on how not to do it. Because whether or not you have been dating or married to Kanye West, which I sincerely hope you have not been, I'm sure you understand this cycle. The makeups, the breakups, the walking out, the walking back in. How do we stop doing this? How do we stop doing this and craft a relationship that actually works? We've got 3 ways. Ask, acknowledge, retreat. These are your 3 watchwords for this video. But before we get into it, just a quick word from today's sponsor. It's rough right now, Shalligators, and sometimes we just need an escape. A sexy escape. A sexy erotic escape. A place where only good things happen and pleasure is your priority and boy meets girl or girl meets girl or boy meets girl and then they meet another girl and then they meet spankings. What? What am I talking about? I am talking about Dipsea. It's an app full of short erotic stories written for women by women, designed to help us tap into our sexier selves. Because sexual wellness is very important. I have been a Dipsea fan for a really long time. It's a great thing to listen to with your partner or just by yourself when you're in the mood, or if you just just need a bit of an escape. And I actually really want to write one. Would you guys read it if I wrote it? I hope so. I will try not to make it as awkward as I am. I will not use the word wiener anywhere. Maybe once. There's new content every week, so you're never gonna get bored. And even if you're not trying to rev up the old engine, you can listen to some sensual bedtime stories to help you fall asleep and have those Jason Momoa sex dreams that you know you deserve to have. Yes, girl. So if you're a fan of this channel, you get a special deal. Go to dipseastories.com/Shallon for an extended free 30-day trial. That's 30 days of free full access when you go to Dipsea, DIPSEA, stories.com/Shallon. And we're back. So yes, reports are out there saying that Kim might not sign the divorce papers and maybe they're working things out. Girl, this was the Liam Hemsworth thing. Remember when Kim and Miley were dating forever and then she went off the fucking deep end, just basically her life. And they broke up and she dated Patrick Schwarzenegger and she was more Adderall than human at that point. And then Liam came back and we were just dude, you were out. You were out, man. And then he came back and married her and she was a shit show. We did a whole video breaking down what happened in their marriage. And dating a wild child and can you tame someone? So check that whole playlist out. We have a whole Miley Cyrus playlist. But it reminds me of this situation. It's Kim, sis, you were out. You were out, right? You moved all your shit out of your cervix mansion and you filed the papers. The news broke. With celebrities, it's different because it's once the news breaks, you kind of can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can look clown shit if you get back together and then break up. When we're back together, we broke it up. It's ugh, enough. Makes me a lot of money, so I love it, but the rest of us watching, it's exhausting. So what's actually going on here? Well, sources are saying that these rumors that Kim's not going to sign the divorce papers are 100% coming from Kanye. Why? Because this megalomaniac hates Drake. Huh? Wait, Drake. Yes, Drake. This is all an attempt for attention to get his album to outsell Drake's upcoming album, Certified Lover Boy. I'm sorry. I am and I hate Drake. We've talked about how Drake is an absolute garbage fire of a human because he collaborated with Chris Brown, who probably raped the love of Drake's life, Rihanna. After Rihanna had the gall to simply not love Drake back, he's cool, I'm gonna go do an album with the man who almost beat you to death so Drake can go fuck himself. But I gotta say, I like his music better. Kanye's music, I don't get. After College Dropout, I'm anyway, whatever. To each their own. But this like nemesis, which I don't even think Kanye's on the level of Drake. I don't know, right? I don't know. Kanye's songs, I guess, are good, but they're not like a bop. Like it comes on, you're like, I love this melody. I can sing along to it. It's very like weird. It's what like dorky white boys in like the Canadian suburbs, like, I'm hard. I love these Kanye deep cuts. Do you, Ethan? Do you? Shut up, Tristan. Anyway. So Kanye is trying to like build the hype to outsell Drake. I don't know how well that's going to work. Whose album would you buy? Tell me your thoughts on both of these clowns. But people on the inside are like, no, they're not getting back together. Why then did they reenact their wedding? I don't know what kind of hold Kanye has over Kim or what kind of penis is in his pants, because it is like the things he has gotten that woman to do and justify and support him, it blows my mind. I don't follow him on Instagram, but does he promote her Skims clothing? Does he promote like KKW Contour? Does he do anything for her? Or is she always like, Donda, Kanye? Like, Kim, you look cuck as balls right now. Like, cut it out. Stop. So Kim has been just like wheedled and manipulated into doing this, like to support him, performance art, father of my kids. Who gives a shit? Please, girl, you gave him 4 beautiful kids and you gave him the best years of your tits. You have given that man enough. Okay? So I don't think that these two are getting back together, but it is probable and likely, just based on human behavior, that they didn't just wake up one day. She didn't wake up one day. It's like, I'm filing for divorce. We've had no fights. There's been no storming out. I mean, we knew that he like, pottered off to Wyoming. You stay out of Montana, you motherfucker. You too, Jeffree Star. Stay out. We got a lot of weapons here. And we have a lot of elk. And they can be real feisty if you piss them off. Same with a moose. They got a brain the size of a walnut, and the entire rest of their body is like pure revenge. If I was an animal, I'd probably be a moose. Small brain, just wired for mayhem. Anyway, I guess I am an animal. I'm a human. Got it. Anyway, we know that those two have like broken up. She's probably taking him back. This is how a divorce goes, you know, or any sort of big breakup. And if you've been with someone for longer than like 2 years, it basically is a divorce. And if you live together, oh my God, it's 100% a divorce. Maybe lawyers weren't involved. Maybe you don't have any kids. Maybe you're just like splitting up some Bed Bath & Beyond plates or whatever. But it is, by the time it is done, there has been so many battles, so many sleepless nights and walking out and coming back and I'm going to get my own apartment. So how do we build a better relationship? How do we avoid this awful cycle? Because for some of us, it's the death rattle, you know, it's like the lethality of the relationship and it is deteriorating and it dies. But for many of us, many of us, it dies and then it comes back and you're back together and then it deteriorates and it dies again and you come back together. And it is this constant cycle. I'm sorry, I'm so itchy. It's this constant cycle of making up and breaking up. Everyone's sick of hearing about it. You're sick of hearing yourself fucking talk about it. And you just want a relationship that's easy. Just easy. And not easy for 10 days and then shit absolutely falls apart. Or you just want it to be easy. Well, what was the first word we said? Ask, right? What is back here? Can I tell you the worst story real quick? I was driving the other day around Montana with the windows down, crying, as I do, over a boy. And I was like, I've become like much more religious. I've got my crucifix and I find comfort in it, but I can do a whole separate video on religion. Even if the comfort is silly, it doesn't, who gives a shit? You know, I find pumpkin spice candles and lattes comforting. Let's just all have our things of comfort. Are we allowed to have that? And I was like, you know, I really feel like there's a plan for me. Like God has a plan for me. God, universe, Jesus, whatever we want to call it. That this higher power has a plan for me. And I know that I am in the palm of God's hand, the gods. And I have the favor of gods. And you know what happened? Because I was like, and it fleeted through my mind. I was like, I just wish I could have like a sign, you know, don't we all want a sign that everything's going to be okay? You know what happened? A motherfucking hornet flew into my car, flew down the back of my shirt, and stung me 3 times. So, whatever God I've been praying to might not be the right one. So if you have suggestions for different gods, I would appreciate. Cowboy was like howling and raging. I was like, shut up! I almost swerved off the road. It was horrible. And I still have this huge welt on my back. It looks like I got shot with a paintball. Anyway, where was I going with this? Where I think I was going, I honestly can't remember. I'm full of hornet venom. You know, it was like a murder hornet. You know, you read about those in the news. It was literally a murder hornet. I was attempted hornet murder. God damn it. Ask yourself before you watch any more of this video, before you go down this rabbit hole, before you text that boy, ask yourself, do you actually want a healthy relationship? When I look back on my life, there have definitely been times and seasons and situations where the answer was, no, I don't want a healthy relationship. Whether I was actually very happy single, but I thought I needed a boyfriend, you know, to be normal or whatever. Or I was just I was in a chaos season myself. And so it was impossible that I would have had a healthy relationship. So I was creating insane, unhealthy relationships. And you know what? It is better to just walk in the light of that truth than to be like, no, I want a healthy relationship. Think of it like having a good body, because for me, my relationship with my body is extremely correlative to my relationship with money and my relationship with boys. There's a degree of shame, unworthiness, fear of not failure, fear of success. When I'm like, I want a great body. Do I? Because I don't pull myself in that direction. I'm not up at CrossFit 5 days a week. Like, I'm not only eating kale and keto. Like, no, I don't. I might say it, but based on behaviors, no, I don't. There's a layer of, well, why don't you? That's something else to explore. But ask yourself, do you actually want a healthy relationship? Maybe you're going back and forth with this person because you're kind of hoping you're going to piss them off bad enough that they're just going to leave and you don't have to and be the bad guy. Maybe you need this to work out so that all of this pain and bullshit and the red flags you've ignored and the toxic behavior you have put up with and engaged with, you can't just have that be a shitty story. That's how I behaved for 2 years. It was a bag of crap. No, maybe it has to work out so that all those bad times weren't just this standalone story of pain and misery. It was a chapter in the larger story that did have a happy ending. Let me tell you something right now. Your story can have a happy ending the second you decide to. What? The second you decide to learn, that story has a happy ending. We never lose, we win or we learn. And I've said in the past, I've said to you guys, I don't think I've ever failed at anything. I mean, someone could look at me like, no, you failed at that. And be like, no, I didn't, because I learned from it. Did it go the way I had wanted or hoped? Maybe not. Was I embarrassed a little bit? Probably. But did I learn? Okay. So that's not a standalone story of just pain and misery. That is part of a happy ending story, my own happy ending. But let's say that you actually do want a healthy relationship. You want this marriage to work. You want this relationship to go the distance and just get back to where it's good. Ask yourself if you are after, do you guys know what I'm going to say? Peace or victory. Peace or victory. I was in Army ROTC. I almost joined the military, and there's a lot of days that I wish I did. And it was the best years of my life. But one thing that they drilled into us is when you're evaluating an enemy, you need to evaluate, are they after peace or victory? If both sides are after peace, the solution is very easy. It's linear. If one side is after peace and the other side is after victory, and this came in context, we were reading the book Black Hawk Down, read that book. If you literally only read the intro, like the preface, it's like, 10 pages, it will change your life. It was unbelievable. But we had to read that and do reports on it. And that was what that book stressed, like peace or victory, because they were in Somalia. This was during the Clinton administration. It was a fucking shit show. It was an absolute shit show. And the Americans were there because they wanted peace. They wanted stability in the region. These warlords had taken over. The Somalis didn't. They wanted victory. And so nothing was ever getting done. From like, they were installing like telephone lines, and people would be up there stripping the copper off it 10 hours later, and they're like, same with like the sanitation system. It was a whole literal garbage fire. A lot of garbage was set on fire in Somalia. But I think we can bring that sensibility into our micro interactions. When we're going up against someone, do we want peace or victory over them? So if you're staying engaged in this because you just want to get in, you want to shill them and have the last word, bitch, you're the problem. Or you're at least a good 50% of the problem, because they might be after peace. Maybe they're after victory too. But one of you needs to be the hero and step up and say, you know what? I don't need the last word. I don't need to prove anything. I am here. We are a team, and the enemy is out there. The enemy is not in here. The enemy is out there. The enemy is our schedules. The enemy is finances. The enemy is cancer. You know, you going to law school in a different state, whatever that might be. Let's approach this from a place of collaboration. Ask yourself if you are willing to do that. And again, be honest. If you're like, no, there's so much hurt here. I just want to win. I want to make them suffer. Okay, you're digging two graves though. Not only ask that of yourself, ask it of your partner, because you can change your outlook. You can't change someone else. This brings me to the second, acknowledge. I use this example a lot. How hard it would be to get someone to change their favorite color. My favorite color is millennial pink and gold. It's on everything. And someone's like, how about orange? You're like, no, I don't want to wear orange. And I don't like orange. And I don't want anything orange in my house. Not even oranges. I don't like them. No, it's going to be orange. If you loved me, you would wear nothing but orange. It would be your favorite color, and you would say it. You'd say it all the time. Okay. You might put on that orange, and you might pretend that you like it, but you don't. You fundamentally don't. Think how hard and grating that would be. And that's not even a personality trait. It's a garment, right? Now think about how hard it is to change the way someone communicates, their ideas on fidelity, whether they're collaborative, whether they do need to have the last word, whether they're thoughtful, whether they're selfish. Can you change their wardrobe with the snap of the fingers? So what I'm saying is, acknowledge that maybe the things you're trying to change are core issues. How do you know? Think about what you fight about. Look at what you fight over. Are you fighting over topics or issues? Topics or issues? You didn't buy more dog food. Do you remember when I asked you if you had dog food on the list? You're like, yes, I have dog food on the list. And you got so fucking pissy about it. And who doesn't have any dog food right now? Noodles. So you've hurt me and you've hurt Noodles. Are you happy with yourself? That's the topic. That's the topic. The dog food, noodles, whatever. The issue is someone not taking responsibility around the house, not listening, and it's a parent-child dynamic. I told you to do this. Yeah, ma'am. It's the naggy thing. That's the issue. And so if you can get through that dog food issue to a topic to what's going on underneath, you maybe have a fighting chance of working it out. But if you're staying in this like surfacey topic, noodles and dog food kind of thing, no, because there's an endless amount of dog food. There's an endless amount of dog food squabbles, whatever Noodles did or didn't do. That's never going to end. So you're going to be like, we're constantly fighting. We're constantly in these wars and bickering. Yeah, because you're not getting to the issue. You're staying on the topic. And looking at the issue is scary because holy shit, what if we can't fix it? Well, that is playing out no matter what. You like putting blinders on is not, it's not preventing anything. It's just my hornet welt that's itching. It's just my murder scar. When the gods turned on me, I really, do bees and hornets mean something in pagan mythology? Because I'm also pagan. Does it mean, is there some symbolism there? Okay, whatever. Where was I? when we look at issues, seeing is believing, and would you want to see if seeing meant you had to believe? If you're like, we fundamentally don't communicate in the same way. He stonewalls me. He shuts down. He's not empathetic. That is a hell of a lot more stressful to think about than the dog food. But if you really are trying to get to a better place, you have to do that. You have to do that work. And you also have to acknowledge limits. We like to think that everything we're doing is fine, but everything about them, they need to change. Part of this acknowledgement phase is acknowledging what you're bringing to the table. I am a very good arguer. I can be very persuasive. I can be very manipulative, and I can gaslight very, very easily and very effectively. I think I did an Evil Week video on how to gaslight someone. I think I did. Yeah, it's like how to date multiple guys in the same friend group, and it's basically a primer on how to gaslight someone. It's on Flays. Go check all of last year's Evil Week. And yes, Evil Week is coming back this year. Of course, you can't just not have evil. But I don't want to acknowledge that about myself, because then shit, I've got work to do too. And I can't just behave however I want to win an argument, coming at it from a victory standpoint, not a peace. If I was truly interested in peace with the guy I was arguing with, I wouldn't gaslight them or manipulate them. I would say, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. I understand that doing that was insensitive. But again, if I'm being honest, like in a previous relationship I had recently, like, who is whistling? It's literally so annoying. Ugh. If I was being honest, no, I didn't want a relationship, a happy, healthy relationship. I didn't want to be in that relationship at all. And I felt trapped because every time I tried to break up with him, he would manipulate me back or suck me back in or threaten to kill himself or do something insane. And so I was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to be as manipulative as I want because I don't even want to fucking be here. And I would love it if you just broke up with me and left. I hope I push you to the edge because I want you to leave me alone. That's healthy. That's healthy. But I finally did understand and see that's what was going on. And I'm like, okay, like we are done. Like I don't like the person I am. I don't like you. You don't like me. It's a circle jerk of hornet misery. So you're going to ask. You're going to acknowledge. And then what was that last one? Retreat? Shallon. I have a friend going through some issues with her partner and they're long distance and it's shredding them both. And the communication is breaking down in a way that she doesn't know if she can right the ship, And I've read their text threads and I'm like, he's just a brick wall. Like, and he's getting petty and mean and telling you that you're the problem. I'm like, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because you're my friend, like you aren't the problem here. Like you are truly approaching this from a collaborative standpoint. So even if everything else you're doing isn't perfect, you at least have the perfect motivation. He doesn't have that motivation, and then we go back to the acknowledgement phase, like acknowledge that like that is simply where he's coming from. And she and I were talking and I'm like, you know what? Women, you know what we do? We grow. We mature. That's the reason this channel exists, right? We want to be our best selves. Men don't. I mean, maybe, but men mature through trauma. Trauma. Our trauma. They mature through our trauma. We are the collateral damage on their journey to self-discovery, aren't we? Because guys only level up and get better and, oh, it's not working when they get dumped, they go to rehab, they get fired, there's a war. Like, they don't just sit there one day and they're like, I'm gonna read a book on how to be better. They don't fucking do that. Something bad has to happen and they're like, oh, I shouldn't have done those things. There's literally so many songs about this. Women, notice, never sing songs like that. Men do. They're the ones you don't know what you got till it's gone. I guess technically Joni Mitchell did sing that song, but it's pervasive themes in all of male songs. Right? It's basically Justin Bieber's entire career. So what am I saying retreat? Well, I was talking to my friend and she's like, what would you do if you were me? What would you do? And I was like, when I look back on my relationships, my marriage, my relationship with Max, my relationship with Vince, like, and just so many more, I wish I had strategically retreated. Strategic retreat is a tactic of war. And if you read The Art of War, if you read anything about war, military movement, anything like that, strategic retreat is crucial. Sometimes you gotta pull back. If you keep going forward, you're going to get annihilated, right? And again, another military metaphor we're taking into real life. When I look back on my relationships, I wish I had retreated. That acting as a hero in the relationship, instead of I'm going to stick around, fuck no, we're not going to bed angry, I want to stay up and fight. Instead of doing that, to have the last word, to come at that victory standpoint, because my ego was involved, not my heart, my ego. Had I stopped, been the hero, and been like, this isn't going anyplace productive. Whether it's this argument, this relationship, fidelity, whatever it might be, we are going to take a step back. I am going to remove myself from the situation, not in a storming out the door kind of way, not in a, I'm going to seethe and stew and be resentful while we're not talking, but in a way that like, we all need to cool off. We need to retreat the troops before both of us get annihilated on this battlefield. And I wish I would have said, hey, we're not going to talk for a week, a month, 6 months, maybe a year. That would have done the following. Would have clipped my own behavior because, like I said, I was not perfect. You probably aren't either. It would have lessened the damage I could do to them because some things you can't take back. And some things are unforgivable. If you realize that communication is breaking down, don't keep giving each other the opportunity to say something bad in the heat of battle or over text or drunk or what. Remove, right? And it is also, going back to what we were saying about men not really growing of their own volition, it will give them that chance. It's more than a warning shot, but it's not as bad as a death blow. You know what I mean? It's somewhere in between. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to just be home like doing needlepoint while I'm not talking to you. No, I might be on Tinder. I might be seeing what else is out there because this isn't working. You don't seem to be valuing me. You seem to want to fuck all the girls at Chili's. I don't know. So I think I'm going to take a break here. And then you say, in 30 days, I will meet your bitch ass at Chili's. If you're trying to fuck a waitress, I'm going to set your car on fire. I'm going to meet you at Chili's. I'm going to be on that plane. We're going to meet up in Austin. We're going to have a phone call. We're going to sit down, whatever it is, so that there's a start and an end. And here are the rules. We are not going to talk. We are both going to unfollow each other, not out of spite, but because these are part of the rules of strategic retreat. We are doing this prophylactically. We are doing this as a preventative measure because, again, when I look back, and this is what I told my friend, and we know what this is like. The tragedy of a guy coming back when you're over it. And the guy coming back, it's like, I've grown, I've matured, I've got a job, I've stopped smoking weed, whatever it is. And you're like, where was this person 6 fucking months ago? Where? And it's the most tragic feeling, isn't it? It's awful. It truly feels like this horrible joke from God, kind of like a murder hornet. It feels like that, right? But we can engineer this differently. We can hack this by that strategic retreat. Force that growth. Force ripen this situation. We talk about that a lot. You can't even force ripen a peach or an avocado, let alone a whole ass man. True. But this is as close as you're going to get. This is the best hack. And you know what, baby girl? If you walk out and he's not maturing and he's still drinking, he's still trying to fuck the waitresses at Chili's, wouldn't you rather know that, like, you know what? This is fruit that's never going to ripen. This is never going to be me. He doesn't miss me. He doesn't value me. He doesn't value himself enough to level up and be the man I deserve. Don't you want to know that? No, Shallon, I don't, because then I'll be alone. Baby girl, you are alone. You are alone. But you're alone and you don't even know it. You're just, like, your soul knows it. You can feel it with the anxiety, overeating, bad sleep, being snappy and bitchy. Oh, you feel it, but you're not acknowledging it. So you're in a constant state of telling yourself that you're crazy. I feel so alone. I'm so anxious. I'm so miserable, but I can't lose them. Then I'll be alone and anxious and miserable. Yeah, you might be for a little bit, but you're going to be anxious and miserable and alone and sad in service of healing. forward moving grief, not just this endless loop. We get one life. We only get so many perky tit years. Thank God mine are still big and bouncy. I'm losing weight though, so I think they're always the first to go and the last to gain, right? I mean, is this how you want to spend your youth? And it's all youth. It is all youth until the day that you die, right? You're never going to be younger than you are now. You're never going to be more beautiful. Well, you might be. I've gotten more beautiful, and I'm sure you will too. But is this really how we want to spend it? Come on, girl. No. So strategic retreat could actually work wonders. And that's what I told my friend. I would pull back. I'd say, you know what? This isn't getting us anywhere. Because I'm like, you need to see how he behaves if he thinks he might lose you. Does he respond in a productive way? Does he get some therapy? Does he read some books? Does he fly his ass out to see you? Or does he like smoke a bunch of weed and like get really bitter and send pissy messages to you on Instagram and post subtweets? Like, you need that data. Because if he's skewing in that immature direction, again, like that goes back to acknowledge. Acknowledge who you're dealing with. Maybe beneath the surface of this person, there's just more surface. Maybe he's not ever going to level up and communicate well. Or if he does, it's like 10 fucking years down the road. You want to do that? You want to waste that? Look at these tits. No, you don't. Your nipples are great. You got to be out there showing them off, girl. So pull back, step back, and this is the important part. Ice out. Ice. This is hard. But this is strategy, and I swear to God it works, okay? You know I would tell you otherwise. When I have seen women do this, pull back and ice this motherfucker as though he doesn't exist. There are no subtweets. There are no emo statuses. You are also not deleting his pictures. You're not posting pictures with new guys. It's like nothing happened. You guys can never tell when I go through a breakup. I've gone through like 4 this summer. It's ice. You don't talk to him. You do not talk about him. You don't drive past his house. You don't, Ghost. He can't miss you if he hasn't lost you. And it's so hard, but people need to feel the weight of their decisions. And if you choose a behavior, you choose the consequences. He's had a hand in getting you here. Let him feel it. Gaze upon your monster, Dr. Frankenstein. If we're afraid to do that, you know what we're telling a guy? She's not serious. She's not serious. She'll be back. She's still watching all my stories. She's like posting that weird like 5 Seconds of Summer lyric. Like, what is she? She's still way into it. But if he's like, why haven't I heard? I knew she was going to be out last night because it's her book club and she gets wasted on wine and she always calls me after book club. Why didn't she? Oh, where is she? Do you know the only thing men hear? Silence. It's the loudest thing in the world to them. It's deafening. They can't stand it. That's the other half of songs that are written. Why won't you talk to me? Where are you? Please answer me. I'm in misery. Ugh. They cannot stand silence. So, give them exactly that. Weaponize this against them in a good way for a positive outcome in the relationship. And like I said, when I have watched women do this, the shift in the guy is unreal. It is unbelievable. It is so fast. It is so intense. And it is usually lasting because he's like, fuck, okay, like I'm going to level up. And meanwhile, you are there healing. You're healing. Because like I said, even if he doesn't come back, if he's not doing the work, okay, girl, then you're out. You're Kim on the outside. You're Liam Hemsworth out. You've done it with the minimum of drama. Because when I look back on my relationships, I wish I had done that. So, because when I finally did walk out and ice out, it's because I was so fucking done. Just done. And the guys didn't know that. I was like at a 10 done and they were like at a 4 because like I was doing all the heavy lifting. Finally, I walk out and they're like, oh, I've lost her. And they start to level up and then they come back and they're like, I'm ready to be the man you need. And I'm like, Where the fuck were you 6 months ago? 6 years ago? Where were you when I needed you? And again, it's this tragedy loop. But had I done that before I was so done and so shredded and so miserable, we had a chance of really saving it. When I was just medium in pain and not like nuclear meltdown, screaming, shredded, hideous pain, it was an easier problem to fix. There was less of a gap to close. So do that for yourself and for your relationship. Yeah, it takes some guts. It takes a hell of a lot of willpower. But if you're not willing to spend guts and willpower towards someone you ostensibly love and want to make it work with, what are you? Why do you even have guts or willpower? If you're not spending it here, what are you spending it on? I want to know what you guys have to say about Kim and Kanye. Tell me if you have been in these like loops of makeups and breakups. How did you solve it? Or do you look back and you're like, I was in those loops because it literally was just never going to work and I couldn't acknowledge it to myself? Or did you overcome the hurdles and you're like, no, one of us did this, the other one did that. We communicated differently, blah, blah, blah. And we righted the ship and it's been fairly smooth sailing from here on out. I really want to know. And we will see you guys next time. See you later, Shalligators.